So if you have any plans to grow your business or ambitions for growth, how do you know what you're currently doing is going to help you to meet those goals? Hope and referrals and short bursts of effort, those don't build pipeline, they build anxiety. The businesses that we work with, who we've seen do really well at sales, they don't just chase leads, they build systems. They build repeatable sales engines that can be relied upon to meet their goals. And that's what we do at Level 180 for our clients. In this video, we'll show you the systems and methods that we use to build repeatable sales engines that get meaningful results. So what is a repeatable sales engine in plain terms? A repeatable sales engine is a system of processes, data, and people working together to produce sales qualified leads, meaning potential prospects who want to speak to you about your services and your business on an ongoing basis, on a reliable and predictable basis. So what happens before in businesses compared to what happens when they work with Level 180? Well, before, they have no real way of predicting income. So whatever goals they have are really hope. And there's no tangible way to meet those goals. There's ideas and stuff that might come off, but there's absolutely no way to predict that. When working with Level 180, we build a sales pipeline, a reliable pipeline of viable prospects that starts slowly, but builds quickly over time. So that in a short space of time, you have a robust and lengthy pipeline of leads that your business can work with. So once you have that pipeline and that predictability in place, you can plan for growth for your business. So what doesn't work in this space? Well, relying on hope and referrals and limited bursts of effort results in really lumpy, unpredictable, false hope, anxiety pipeline. In this space, what doesn't work either is hundreds of leads or thousands of leads, right? If you think about your business, how many potential prospects are there? Are there literally hundreds of thousands? Most likely not. So hundreds or thousands of leads a month in your space is not the right answer. So what should good look like in this space? Well, realistically, depending on what industry you serve, you should be able to have between 4 and 8, maybe a little bit more conversations with people in your direct target market who are the right type of businesses and the right people who are interested in using your services. And you should be having, like I said, between 4 and 8 of those meetings every single month. So as I say, it may start slowly, but over time it builds very quickly and becomes a behemoth and a juggernaut that's predictable. So this video is for 2 people, right? For those of you who don't have pipeline and you're living from project to project and you're relying on hope and referrals and limited bursts of effort, I know what it's like when you're working on a project or a group of projects and they come to an end and there's no revenue in sight after that. We're going to talk specifically to you guys and how you can address that. And for businesses who do have a pipeline, but you haven't really interrogated it in a while, and you're a little bit afraid to dig below the surface to see what's really there, we'll show you what a good pipeline looks like and how to interrogate your existing pipeline. In this video, our team at Level 180 will show you how that's achieved through smart targeting. Everything in sales starts with the targeting. So we'll show you how we target the right individuals for your business, and then how we engage with those individuals in a way that's meaningful, adds value to their life, and invites them into a conversation that starts a relationship.
At Level 180, we build these repeatable sales engines through direct outbound. So we start with email. It's an email-led approach. It's a wonderful way to get your foot in the door. And also, it's not intrusive. People looking at their emails every day. It's a great way to reach out to decision makers with valuable information that can impact their role. But before we get there, we start with validating the data. Now, we need to make sure that the emails are correct. These are the right emails. These are the right people before we get there. And then we make sure we're reaching out to the right titles within those emails, the right decision makers, the right departments, the right industries. You have to make sure you're reaching the right people with the right messaging. That's the most important thing. What makes our emails different in this space and what makes our approach different is that it's personalized, it's value driven. We are not going to reach out to someone who we can't help or who cannot be impacted by our client's solution, service, or product. So that's kind of actually where we begin, is making sure that the decision makers we reach out to are relevant, highly relevant to our clients' solutions, to our clients' products. Based on that, we start building. We build the value proposition, we build the messaging, we build that relevancy for our clients in our clients' world. So let's go back to the emails. Like I said, the emails are the beginning of the process. They are the foundation, but in a lot of industries, it can take time for emails to work. It can take time for you to understand truly the role player's world. And you can use AI, but AI's approach is vast and often not accurate when it comes to the value proposition and the challenges that those prospects are actually facing. You need to inform the emails with real conversations. And we partner with our clients to inform the emails around the real conversations that they're having with their prospects, with their existing clients. How are you impacting your client's world? And that's what you need to inform the email and calling strategy with. So email, number one. And then we go into LinkedIn. We also connect with decision makers on LinkedIn after we send the emails. And then we send another email. We send out personalized LinkedIn messages. It's still a direct outbound approach. But sometimes that doesn't work. You need faster answers from the prospects. So we can give them a call. And this isn't intrusive. It's not a pure cold call. It's a warm call. And what that means is our client has already reached out to the prospect. Our clients, us on behalf of our clients, we've already reached out to the prospect on some channel. And now we're going to call them. It's polite, it's non-invasive, and we still want to offer value. In every single interaction with our clients' prospects, we need to be offering value. We need to be talking about the challenges in their space, what they're going through, what they're struggling with. What are your KPIs? Is the system allowing you to reach your KPIs, and how can we help you reach those KPIs, save money, whatever it is our client solution offers. We are going to speak about that. It's an impact-led, personalized approach on every single channel. We are using a multi-channel approach to create engagements and real connections for our clients. What we do at Level 180 isn't spam and it isn't noisy. And the reason it's not spam is because it's personalized. It speaks directly to the prospect's world. And above and beyond that, all of the data we have is GDPR compliant, POPIA compliant. It's found through public listings, public domain information. That's where we get all of our data, all of our numbers. It's very important that wherever we reach out, we are compliant. What makes Level 180 really special when it comes to outbound is that positive persistence. It's reaching out to prospects and not giving up if they don't respond after the first email, after the first call where they can't answer because they're in a meeting. It's not giving up. Every interaction with them is value driven. We've built an understanding on that positive persistence through years and years of experience, years of speaking to decision makers and C-suite executives, understanding their busy schedules. When it comes to outbound targeting, finding the right people, we love helping our clients figure that out. Some of our clients already have an understanding and just need to build relevant market insights. So we help them do that, by having real conversations, and we feed that insight back to them. Or we can start the process from scratch where we figure out who to target. Why do we want to target them? What industries should we go for? What region should we go for? So we can do that go-to-market strategy and solve that targeting problem for our clients. It's taken us years to develop a repeatable sales engine. And at the heart of it, the root of the process is the targeting. And that's what we're going to dive into next.
So let's say you are running a company and you're looking to sell a particular product or solution. And if you're looking for the leads, there are an infinite amount of leads. You need to find the right company, and within that company, there are many people to speak to. So we need to find the right people to speak to in that company, and that's really what targeting essentially is. The right person in the right company in an infinite pool of leads.
Now, on the surface, it might sound simple if you've got the industry and the titles, but often you'll find, and it's more often the case than not, the titles that you're looking for and the industries you're looking for aren't necessarily the right people. In some industries, they go by one title, and in other industries, they go by another title. So targeting is about finding the right people to speak to, the people who are feeling the pain of the solution that you solve. And to find those people is a bit of an art.
So we solve that problem through various instruments. We have a real team of real humans that ensures that we are targeting the right people, and the people that we're targeting are actually real. So we validate and verify their presence in these companies. We're using Ample Market to vet this data. Ample Market is a sales outreach software. We use Ample Market to verify the fact that they are on LinkedIn, verify the fact that they work for that particular company, and verify their particulars. There's another tool called LeadSwift. LeadSwift is a data scraping software where we scrape information from websites online. So what Ample Market does not do, LeadSwift does. We do use LLMs including your Claude, ChatGPT, Gemini, and the like. So we use those softwares to do a deeper research on the background of the prospects. And this is mainly from their LinkedIn, their previous job experience, their current job title, and it allows us to link the messaging to the actual prospect.
The biggest consequences of not targeting correctly is, for starters, you're not going to get in front of the right buyers. And that is the biggest challenge. Even when I consult to businesses, we start with who you're speaking to, because most of the time they've got it off. So the biggest result will be you're not meeting your ideal buyers. But there's kind of spin-offs of that too, right? Especially in the email game, to the people where you're not relevant, you are perceived as spam, right? And that's what spam is, it's irrelevant. So if you're targeting the wrong people, you're going to be perceived as spam, and nobody wants that.
And that is why targeting forms the basis of what we do here at Level 180. And if you're not doing that, I would advise that you think about that to implement into your sales strategy. And if you need help with that, we can help here at Level 180.
Now that you have an understanding of targeting, here at Level 180, we take it a step further with outbound intelligence and trigger-based targeting.
So in sales, especially when we're talking about outreach, it's all about relevance. When do you contact them, and what do you use as your angle, your in? So you've got your value proposition, but as an example, if we know that they're engaging with a post on LinkedIn about your service, that's a really strong trigger. And that means it's a good time for us to reach out to that prospect around products and services that you deliver. So it's just about relevance and timing.
If we would look at company B getting seed funding for 100 million rands, for example, with that, then we would find out that the company is looking to expand in some way, shape, or form. We could go back to looking at if they're looking for maybe certain specialists, like IT specialists. Now that they have that money, they're scaling up, which means more work, there's going to be more demand, and they need to scale up in terms of employees. That's where we can come in and say, hey, we've noticed that you're scaling up. How do you want to get projects delivered faster? We've got people here that can help you do that. And then we start to build that relationship.
So what does this mean for your prospects? They're receiving an incredibly personal experience. When they hear from you, it feels like you care about them, because you do, because we're doing this work for you in the background. We're monitoring them, and we're making sure that we're reaching out at the right time with a message that's extremely relevant to something that's personal to them. And this is because we're monitoring them in the background. We're looking at things like job changes, posts that they've liked on LinkedIn, people that they follow. We use a series of about 18 triggers to find this relevance and timing. When you take this kind of approach to outreach, ultimately what it means at the end of the day is your conversion rate from outreach to conversation is extremely high. Although we've got this remarkable, incredibly cool technology that does this monitoring for us and helps us with the intelligence, it's still human driven. There's a human behind every single email that goes out to the prospects, where we've used this intelligence to make sure that the messaging and angle is perfect for your business and for your prospects.
One system is not enough when you're trying to implement trigger-based targeting, mainly because there's so much data out there. Number one, some people's data is outdated. So if you're using one system, they could only be picking up, for example, if you're only picking up LinkedIn, somebody might have updated their profile 5 years ago, and you're going to get information relevant to 5 years ago. So multiple systems ensures that our data is as accurate as it can be.
This is a differentiator for us in the market, but it's also the new way to sell. So those people who aren't doing it already will have to catch up.
Personally, I have seen success in trigger-based targeting. Quite a number of meetings that I've booked for clients have come from trigger-based targeting. The response is overwhelmingly positive. An example, and I'm quoting not word for word, but one prospect, when he came back, he said, you know what, well spotted. Not many people go out there and try to take the time to research us. The prospect took the meeting very open to engaging. And I think, yes, everybody should be coming to level 180 because, again, we try to make everything personalized and we want to do sales the right way.
Email plays a critical role in the B2B sales process. And as we've shown you, that starts with targeting. Can we find the right people and the right contact information? And can we deliver the right message? Right now, email sending infrastructure is about, we may have the right data and the right message, which are hard to get, but if you can't get the message delivered, it's all for naught anyway. And so email infrastructure addresses this concern. How do we get our emails delivered to prospects in a world of unbelievable spam? And so the infrastructure helps us to do that. For each client, we do a lot of technical setup on domains to ensure that the authority of the domain is high. And we use a combination of Gmail and Office 365 accounts. And we manage multiple accounts for each client to keep our sending volumes low and ensure we can land in inboxes. At Level 180, we're really stringent about our email infrastructure because if you get it wrong, the consequences are high. Not only are you not going to be engaging with your prospects, but there's a real risk of burning your domain, your company domain, and putting it at risk. If you are sending emails that are being blocked or marked as spam, that affects your whole company domain. So we put a lot of effort into make sure that your domain is protected from a security perspective and that you're getting through to your prospects. So as you've seen in this video, we work with you to meet with real viable prospects for your business. But after nearly 3 decades in the trenches in sales, possibly thousands of meetings, we know what it's like to work with a prospect from when the opportunity is created to winning a deal and the complexities involved. So we draw on our experience to work with you to see the deal through to the finish line. So the discovery, coaching, and training entails development of specific sales processes for your business. Again, drawing on our experience of what works for different businesses and different industries. We give you a sales framework to work towards as you're dealing with prospects that will give you the maximum opportunity of closing deals. We develop those frameworks for you and we train you on them. And then as you meet your prospects, we'll coach you on those calls. Either we'll come with you to the meetings, or if you're recording them, we'll listen to the recordings and provide you with feedback that you can take and implement into your next sales meeting. What a strong discovery call does that a weak one doesn't, it establishes a couple of things. First and foremost, it establishes trust and rapport. Second of all, it makes the prospect understand the impact that the supposed solution or product can have on their business, and it maps out their decision-making process. I'll give you an example. I was in a call the other day with a client, and they were meeting with a prospect for the first time, and they had a fantastic discussion. Rapport was established up front, but they spent the next 40 minutes explaining to the prospect what their system is and what it does. What they really needed to do is to spend time learning about the prospect, their goals and their challenges, and then explain how their product or solution can impact those goals and challenges, and to make it more relevant and personal. And that's what we're trying to help our clients to do, to make their solutions relevant and personal to whoever they're meeting, to give them a maximum opportunity of closure.
In this film, we've been showing you how to run repeatable sales engines. Now that's exciting and great and wonderful, but if you are not compliant, everything falls flat. It's important to make sure you're compliant, and that means including opt-out links in all of your emails, allowing prospects to unsubscribe from your emails, making sure your data is GDPR compliant, making sure you're POPIA compliant in South Africa and California, and not only that, making sure all of your messaging is relevant to every single prospect you reach out to. Now, Level 180 is compliant. We're consistently reviewing this and making sure we're compliant, and if we aren't compliant, or if someone in sales isn't compliant, you run the risk of reputational damage. And not only that, you can face serious fines if you aren't compliant. That's why we make sure we're compliant. We're constantly reviewing laws in every region we reach out to at Level 180.
So what is customer relationship management, and what does it mean to you when you work with Level 180? There's two parts to customer relationship management, or what we commonly term CRM. CRM is, in its simplest form, a piece of technology which we use to track and manage and nurture deals through the sales process until we create an opportunity for you. But really, it talks about the actual process of managing leads, which we've spoken about in detail in this video. But what it means to you is we follow our process to create the opportunity. And then when we're ready to hand over to you, if you've got your own CRM system or your own customer relationship management processes, we'll adapt that opportunity to whatever it is that you're using. In its simplest form, we'll take our information and everything we've got on the prospect and the work we've done, and we'll put it into your systems and processes. In this industry of outreach, when you're working with businesses like Level 180, the data and the handover of data is critical. At the end of the day, it is your data. You're paying for it. You only see the opportunities that are created, but there's lots of leads that are going into that pool to create those opportunities. With Level 180, that data is yours. We can hand it to you in whatever form you like, in raw spreadsheets, or we can integrate it directly into your CRM. And another thing that we can do for our clients, and where we see Level 180 going, is to own the rest of the sales process. So at the moment, for the majority of our clients, we hand over to you when the opportunity has been created. But if you like, we can work on an agreement where we close those deals for you on your behalf.
The final phase of our CRM is a full takeover. So instead of handing over a beautifully packaged prospect all the information teed up for your discovery call, we take over that phase as well, the closing of clients. So instead of you running discovery calls, doing that sales process, we'll do that for you, and you'll just be the subject matter expert for your service.
So we've spoken about how Level 180 builds these sales engines for our clients. We've spoken about how important the targeting is right at the beginning of the process to define your target market and the right people. We've spoken about how important the messaging is and the timing of reaching out using triggers. We've spoken about how the infrastructure ensures that our emails can get delivered, which is the foundation of the sales process. We've discussed how we are compliant. So what does this all mean for you as a leader of a business, and what are the tangible results? Well, we can speak about those until the cows come home, and we can share whatever case studies you want. But just to give you an idea, a mix across industries of some of the work that we've done in the results. For Dimension Data, a number of years ago, they launched a new consulting division, and we helped them to launch the division by meeting their ideal clients, It was a 6-month contract, but we ended the contract within 3 months because it was such a success they couldn't deal with all the business that they'd received. Another client that we're working with currently is a company called Amplify. They develop AI agents that can replace humans in certain scenarios or amplify the work of humans in certain scenarios. And that's a brand new company, a brand new industry. We've helped to develop their value proposition for them. We've helped to define their target market. And now we're introducing them to 6 to 8 ready-to-buy buyers every month.
Hi, I'm Yehuda. I'm the head of AI solutions and operational excellence here at Amplify. At Amplify, we chose to work with Level 180 because as an engineering-led startup, our focus has always been on building the product, delivering for our clients, and executing around AI. What we never had internally was a dedicated sales team or the commercial outbound capability or expertise to build a sales pipeline at speed. What stood out to us specifically about Level 180 was their ability to bring that expertise immediately without us having to spend the time and the resources building it from scratch ourselves. The value we get from the partnership is real and it's practical. They've helped us generate meetings, they've grown our sales activity and our pipeline, but key is that they've really helped us refine our ICP and messaging in the market. Beyond that, they've really been engaged and highly engaged in the day-to-day process, giving us feedback. We collaborate very closely with them, and they help us understand where we should be focusing our efforts, both from a commercial perspective as well as our technical roadmap. The partnership is important to us because it allows us to stay focused on what it is that we do best, which is the execution, the delivery, and the product, while Level 180 help drive the sales and the commercial motion. They're not just executing in the background either. They really do feel like an extension of our team, and they're constantly working with us to drive the commercial sales engine forward. And that's been incredibly valuable for our company.
Well, a gentleman by the name of Aldrin Bayer. He's a brilliant business coach. There's a great need for his skill, but he's never done sales before. He was nervous about getting into the sales game, understandably, because he's got a strong reputation to protect. But through a process of back and forth, we've figured out who his target market are, and we've developed his value proposition beautifully for him. And now he's also meeting, 6 to 8 of his ideal clients every single month. Another one I wanted to share with you is a company called Helm. So they just use unbelievable technology to change the way businesses communicate with their customers, to increase the customers' tenure on their books and to increase lifetime value. And they're dealing with some of South Africa's biggest brands. And again, they've asked us there to help them to meet those big brands and the senior executives in those brands, which we're doing very well for them. And the last one I wanted to mention was in the finance space, we have a client who provides businesses with access to finance in a really innovative way, quickly, and cost effectively. And we've helped him to define his value proposition. They were doing marketing for a long time and not getting results. And they started to work with us, and we're getting them in front of dozens of new buyers every month. So that's just an idea in terms of some of the clients that we're working with and the results that we're getting. And we'd love to do the same for you. So what this shows us about Repeatable Sales Engine is that what we've developed is working, right? And it's producing results, and it's producing real change for these businesses, real growth and real opportunity for the businesses, for their people, for the owners, and the communities in which they serve. And it's also just validation that the systems and processes and the people we've got in place to do this work are working. We're learning all the time, but what we've got so far is working. In this video, we've shown you how to build a repeatable sales engine for your business. We've shown you the tools, the systems, the processes, and the methodologies we use at Level 180. And these are based on known principles. We know what works. We're doing this stuff on a daily basis. And we're evolving as we go. So we know it works, and we'd love to do the same for your business. So thank you so much for watching. Before you go, I just really want to encourage you to think differently about sales. Do you believe that your business or product or service solves real problems for people? And do you genuinely care about those people who you solve problems for? Because if you don't believe those things, sales is going to be difficult for you. So if you genuinely care about the people you solve problems for, Level 180 can build a repeatable sales engine with you.